Again, this lag
There we go.
aggravates me. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Toku Portal podcast for Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. I am Ashi V, and joining me today is
Right. What did you almost say?
Rear Soldier. I, I, I almost, I almost
I
went to the
heard the
Kishir.
pause.
In defense, like we have literally talked about two different Sentais before we even
Yeah,
got here.
so we watched some Ryu Soldier and some Kira Major stuff, because the Raws for those finally came out. So that was fun.
Which for some of those, I'm amazed it took as long as it did, not for the Raws to come out, but for anybody to subtitle them. Because I
Well,
mean, they've been killing it. They've been killing it with the episodes,
I think, like, the weekly episodes are really the high priority thing, and anything else is just a bonus.
right? Which is usually the case. Is like, but it was weird because like going back to like the days of using Kiss Asian and all that. At least just to be able to get it as quick as possible.
Oof.
Like, not. Oh yeah, I know. But like, not like. But seeing a Raw come out and not having something like a week later is shocking to me, especially given how quick that the Raws were out for these two items, or for the most recent two, the not a special and the Kira Major movie. Those came out really quick compared to Rita Soldier and
Yeah, that
Kira
Ryu
Major movie.
Soldier one is the real question. Like, why did that take so long?
That was there for
I was
a
shocked
while.
when you sent it to me. Like, wait, what is this?
Are you referring to the special or the
The
crossover movie?
the special. Like,
So
when
the
did that come
special,
out?
not too long ago,
Oh, 'cause I was
they
shocked.
started. They were promoting that during like the early end of about halfway through Kira Major.
I haven't been watching the commercials. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I was like, so when you sent it to me, I was like, wait,
Because
what?
like well, a certain group threw it up on their feed page when it got announced, and I was confused as hell because I was like, how in the hell are you having a moot? Because there were no details about it. All it was the
Right.
poster. And it's like, well, that's clearly Nada from the back. What the fuck? He's dead. How is he here? Like we were expecting some like
So
bullshit.
I just realized then that retroactively explains why they were playing ping pong.
Which, to be fair, did they need an explanation?
No, but
It's
now
nice to have it.
now like the story transitions.
Right.
God, that special really was just an entire red flag.
Yes. Like, and all the jokes about it is like he filmed it on his lunch break while they were filming the episode. The director took a lunch break from the episode and just said, "Hey, let's film this real quick."
All right.
But
So,
anyways, this
uh,
is Zenkaiger.
yeah, welcome to Zenkaiger. I didn't almost say Cure Major.
Hey, at least I'm not the only one.
If you didn't jump in, I would have said it.
I saved the day instead of ruin it. It's a change.
Um, so Iji Rude has hit a wall with his latest project and decides to go uh, cool his mind at the spa. So while he's away, Stacy takes the opportunity to, use his personal computer and look through his files.
So I have two things on this. One, I keep forgetting that they're sentient beings and not robots.
Did the spa thing catch you off guard?
Yeah, I was not expecting a machine
They're,
life form to go, I'm gonna go to the spa.
they are
That
mechanical
was
life
weird.
forms.
Right. And then Stacy trying to find the console.
Right, because it's a touch screen and the screen is the entire
Uh, and it's
desk.
holographic and it's, you know, like this is one of those points of like sci-fi stuff that has always bothered me. It's like before you turn them on, how do you know where the screens are
I
to
assume
turn them on?
I assume that is an intentional design to keep people from touching EJ Rude's shit.
Right. It's like, but even in sci-fi, it's like they just walk up and like wave their hand and there's the screens. It's like,
Because those are the
okay.
people that know how to use the thing that it's designed for, and so that
Oh,
like
I know. But all I can imagine is somebody setting it up for the first time and then trying to get their hand in the right spot
there's got to be like a holographic tutorial of like calibrate iPad.
uh,
Fucking AR shit.
but no, Stacy gave me what I wanted in every little like every bit of sci-fi.
Stacy is wonderful.
Stacy is easily becoming my favorite part of this show.
So Stacy finds something. So this is where things get super
Disturbing.
unclear.
Unclear, disturbing.
The simple answer is that he finds a hologram of Kaido's parents. The complicated part is that what are these? Are they recordings of their memories? Are they a database of the knowledge that they shared with Ijirude? Are they Kaido's parents in a computer?
Oh, God damn
What
it, they
are
Evox
they?
them.
We don't. That
Right, like we
maybe.
have, like it may be, or it just as much as I hate to bring it up, it could be a ghost situation.
Where like their bodies are in some
Yeah,
like isolation pod somewhere.
yeah, yeah. Good catch because I was about to, because I almost, well, no, I did forget the name of the cat.
Oh god, it was something with a Y, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like Yachan or something.
No, Yachan is the grandma here.
Yeah, I know it was something.
Yeah, I don't remember.
By far my favorite aspect of Ghost
That was probably the best reveal in the entire show.
because it made 40 episodes of one character make absolute sense.
Oh man, if you don't know what we're talking about, go watch Ghost. You might want to give up partway through it, but like just keep going.
Just keep going until the reveal of the cat.
You-
It's the best reveal ever.
Probably one of my favorite reveals in all of Rider. Each
Because it was the reason why I liked it is because it's a nonsensical reveal. If they could have literally never revealed that and nothing, it wouldn't have changed
nothing
anything.
would have changed, no. But then you get that, and it's like,
And it's like
wow.
now it's like, and all of a sudden one character who we
Suddenly
could
makes
just makes
sense.
perfect sense.
Oh.
Fickle little ass.
Alright, what were we talking about? Right, Kaido's
The
parents.
greatest moment of this episode.
Uh, so, uh, so yeah, we don't know the full details of what the fuck is going on here, because it could be any number of things. But for now, I'm going to refer to these holograms as though they are in fact Kaido's parents until we get confirmation they are not.
Fair enough.
So, because they're plugged into a computer, they are unresponsive without, the appropriate input. So,
Which apparently is vocal.
yeah, Stacy tries giving verbal input commands to try and get any kind of reaction or information out of them. He tries saying Kaito, Yatsude, Goshi, Kira, like listing off all their names. Zenkaiser, no
Like
response.
things that would typically trigger.
You're right. Like, what's the password here? Like, what do I get to like get you to tell me things? None of it
It was
works.
fun. It was fun watching him try to brute force this thing.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of like typing random passwords on your friend's computer until you get it right.
Yeah, which is that's brute force.
So he's about to give up when he decides to try one more thing.
The best scene in the episode.
He meets no power.
The whole
Zenkaiser!
catchphrase
Zenkokyo
and
Zenkai!
the
he
whole
he
catchline and
he
posing
does
and
he
everything.
mimics Kaito's entire roll call and catchphrase. So now here's my question for you, Vashi. What do you think the password was?
Oh, that one's simple.
Go
Full
on.
force. Full force. That tagline.
Sengoku Zenkai. The
The
specific.
reason the reason why is because of the flashback.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, Kaito got that catchphrase from his parents.
The last time they saw each other.
I don't.
Well, the last time they went out.
I don't think that was the last time, was it? I think that was just a
The
flashback
way he
to
explained he's the way he explained it is like that was the last time they went out.
they went out. Okay,
So they disappeared shortly after that event.
but yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. You could make an argument uh, that Himitsu no Power was the password, since considering what it unlocked. But I think
You
the
could
episode.
also,
Oh,
but you could also use it as the entire thing was.
that would be a bit of a stretch, though, unless they thought that far ahead. The only
Well,
reason.
because in theory, if they got found, knowing that the, for lack of a better term, the safety net they put in place, which is Kaito Zenkaiger, who else would say it but him?
Right. So the full thing is a bit of a stretch, though, because okay, if it's Zengoku Zenkai, that makes sense because that's the catchphrase that they taught him. And if it was just the Himitsu no Power part, that would also make sense because it's implied that they programmed the roll calls into the gears.
Right.
Because when Majin first does a roll call, when they all do their roll call for the first time, they naturally say whatever it is.
And hell, even Room did it, and he was confused as what that was.
Yeah, and Majin specifically, she calls out Maho no power, and then later on in that episode, Sechan has to explain to her, like, use your magic. You said it, didn't you? Maho no power.
Right.
Uh, which is why you can make the argument that it was either one of those separately. I would argue that together would have been a bit of a stretch, but I believe it was Zenkoku Zenkai.
Yeah. That full power, full force, or whatever, however it
Full
is.
power, full force, full power nonstop, full throttle, whatever you want to translate it as. I'm probably even saying the Japanese part wrong, so I sorry if I am. Uh, what else happened? Oh right, bug catching.
There was a lot of fluff in this episode.
Yeah. So everyone's on a bug catching craze because Kabuto Mushi World is putting them all in a bug catching fantasy. In some cases, they're even seeing other people as though they are giant bugs.
So I have to laugh a little bit about this episode and how it ended up in my rotate, the order in which it ended up in my rotation for this.
Go on.
Because I watched it with Pixie shortly after the 2 or 3 episode lead up to Excel's debut in Double, where he's spying on him with the Kabutomoshi.
Right, right. When you randomly brought up Excel to me, I was like, wait, what the fuck does Excel have to do with Sentai?
Yeah, no, it's just I'm.
It it
We
took
sat down
me
and watched
it
more of it.
took me a second to realize that you were watching Double with Pixie.
Yeah, yeah. But it's like it was weird to have that and then remember that that was what the episode was about for this episode. It's like, oh yeah, it fit the theme. Continued on.
Fang, Joker. She enjoyed that, huh?
Yeah, 'cause she's like, what the fuck? That's not the one who's supposed to pass out.
It's
She literally pulled an Akiko. I didn't hear about this.
I don't know if you've gone to it yet. I love this scene where they go to do Fang and Akiko's like, "All right, I know which one it is this time," and then gets it
It's the it's
wrong.
this it's the second time they do Fang. Because she goes to catch Philip and Shotaro passes out on the other side.
I know which one it is this time. She confidently says wrong. Uh, I forget, what did Zox do this episode?
He ate pancakes
Okay.
and then came up with the plan thanks to Ricky and Cutner.
What was his plan again? Oh, right, the maple syrup. I remember
The
now.
Which leads me to the one thing I continuously say about the show. Everybody in the show is fucking stupid.
Go on.
Okay. So, the giant plan.
Yeah.
Create a giant bottle of syrup and smash it against a building.
Yeah, that'll lure the
Which
monster
will
out.
undoubtedly lure the monster. So, they show up, they make the giant bottle,
Yeah?
and look to their left, and there he is. On a pole 3 feet from them.
The plan works.
They're dumb. Nobody in the show pays attention to a fuck ass thing. And it's fucking hilarious.
I choose to believe that it actually did draw him out.
Oh no, given the way this show
The way
this
it's
show has
shot,
presented it. No,
it's
no, no,
like
no.
he was there the
Ignore this.
entire time, yeah.
Ignore this particular episode, but go back to any other episode of them finding the monsters. And I can even we can even base this on them finding them the first time. La la la. Shit.
I mean, the monsters aren't subtle.
No, they're not. The monsters are dumb, and so are the people fighting them. Continuously.
Uh, so, the villain plotline, the C plot that's been ongoing here, about how Bakuwas is angered by his general's constant failure. He's pretty upset with this idea, like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you entertaining them? And even when Guige chimes in of like, it's not that bad, Bakuwas is still like, no, Guige, this one, like, I really don't understand.
It's like, and then it took a little. We
Okay.
own them at the moment.
We can break the trance whenever we want. And then Bakuwas pieces the rest together himself. So we have an army of slaves that we can just put off in their fantasy when we don't need them. Okay.
It's like,
And that calms him
and he
down.
just kind of
That calms him
nodded.
down.
Like that is one of my favorite things is just watching Bakuwas get pissed at everybody's incompetence. Like even when they have like good plans but fuck up, because invariably they fuck up. Or in the case of one monster did everything he was supposed to do and then just got found by a fucking pirate.
Inexplicably, too. Zox literally found him after 10 minutes of looking.
Right. And it's not like he was out in the open or anything either.
No, he was like hiding in a dark alley.
And then just yo ho hoy shit.
So, all 5 Zenkaigers get put under the trance, leaving Zox by himself.
Can we point out that Zox is kind of a dick and intelligent?
I mean, that's been his whole character. What's your point?
Oh, but it just works beautifully this episode with Kabutomoshi World constantly firing their beams at him and him just pulling one after the other in front of him. because they've already been hit with the beam. Can't put them under it again.
So it's around this time that Stacy tries the roll call and figures out the passer by accident.
And not
It's
realizing it.
right, like he thinks nothing happened and walks away, but something triggered, and set.
Somebody has been watching Japanese horror movies because that was a scene of nightmares.
What are you talking about? It's fine.
That was that was disturbing.
Sechan, uh, who, if you don't remember at this point, was built by Kaito's parents to aid in the Zenkaiger process, suddenly receives a signal, and it prompts him to check the computer files, and suddenly he finds something.
A blueprint.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Zox eating pancakes with his brothers, they give him the idea for the maple syrup. And so Zox asks Flynn, like, hey, I need you to find something out for me. And Flint and Sechan meet up because, hey, they both need a favor from each other. Flint's end was that she needed to know which gear to use. The answer was the Abba Ranger gear, because Zox can use Abari Killer's pen to draw things into reality.
I was confused by that.
I didn't watch Abba Ranger. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember that being a pen. I remember it being like a sword.
It was
Like,
probably both. The point is that I watched Dino Thunder and I don't remember that being a thing.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I only watched Dino Thunder. I
Is
was so
is
confused.
Abba Ranger that different of a show?
Apparently,
I've been wanting to watch it though, but I haven't found anyone who subbed it. Maybe Shout's gotten up to it by now.
oh no, I'll have to look into that one.
And so yeah, Zox makes a giant maple syrup bottle and shoots it onto a building. I'm a little disappointed it wasn't in the shape of a G.
Yeah,
And yeah, just 10 feet to Zox's left is the monster.
can just kind of chilling on a pole.
Meanwhile, while Kaito is in his bug hunting fantasy, it reminds him of his childhood and uh, that time he went bug hunting with his parents. And one thing leads to another, and he realizes, like, wait, shit, there's a Toji Tendo attack right now. And he snaps out of the illusion on his own.
Which honestly, I'm amazed he was the one that did.
Who did you expect?
I would have expected Vroom,
Go on.
only because all he's been doing is studying shit. I just had a thing that, like, he'd see something that would get him off onto something else, which would get him back to wait a minute, what we were doing.
Nah, I imagine it would throw him even more off course. He doesn't have an anchor.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, Barashitara decides to join the fray. This is actually the first time he and Zox have seen each other since Zox's initial raid on Toji Tendo.
I kind of want that movie.
Maybe we'll get a special out of it.
I mean, given that they did that for Nada, maybe.
Ugh. So Kaido joins the fight again. This time though, go
the
on.
best, the best entrance. The flying missile dropkick that he hurt himself doing.
Uh,
Because again, one brain cell.
So yeah, Seichan shows up with a new gear for him that he had Flint build, the Kaiju gear.
I dig everything about this.
For those of you that remember Jew Ranger or Power Rangers Season 1, you remember Dragon Zord
And or Dragon Caesar.
or Dragon Caesar?
I don't know which one you watched.
Yeah, it resembles that, and when used, it gives Zenkaiser a thematically appropriate power up.
A giant suit of a Dragon Zord. Like in my head, looking at it, all my brain says you wanted another mechanized life form in this and just couldn't figure out how to do it.
Probably.
Because one, like, if just the way everything sits on him, it looks like it
This
would be an
I've said this before about certain power ups, but like this could have been like a seventh member.
yeah, easily. Um, I understand, like, thematically it makes sense because you have the base suit is based off of the mixture of Big One, um, the Go Ranger helmet, and the
Dragon
Dragon
Rain,
Shield,
yeah, the
and
Dragon
the Dragon
Shield.
Ranger Shield.
Yeah,
So if this makes sense for a power up, it makes well, no, I can't even argue that because the other half of this power up makes sense too. Now that I think about it.
but like honestly, it looks great.
Oh yeah, like it looked like a giant. What decision was this? And but it's beautiful from the fact that it's got its own theme music.
Right. So like when I watched this episode, I was just shooting spoilers at Vashi because of how hype it was. Like kaiju gear.
Which ultimately I have to give you credit because you're usually pretty good about that. So it's like I know if you're sending me spoilers, I need to hurry up and watch this.
It was great. And like I actually like how it puts Kaito more in line with the design for the other Kikanoids.
Right. Like that's what I was referring to is like if you especially like the leg half of it, it 100% looks like it was designed for Kikanoid in appearance. Which again makes sense even with it just being the power up because I mean Dragon Caesar was a robot
And when
based off of kaiju, so nobody can complain about his gear name.
right, I love Room's comment when he sees it like are you a dinosaur or a kaiju? Uh,
Both.
Friendly reminder that in the Dinosaur Sentai, only about half of them were dinosaurs.
Yeah, but at least in that one, it was also just like that era of animals.
Right. Plus Godzilla.
Yeah, and Godzilla, because you can't destroy Tokyo with giant monsters and not have Godzilla be one of them.
Uh,
God, I want to know how much. Wait, Toei owns Godzilla, don't? No, that's Toho.
I was gonna
I wonder how
say,
much.
no, they don't!
I wonder how much money Toei had to pay Toho to use that.
I don't know. How does copyright law work in Japan?
Apparently, rather strictly, but because not only did they obviously take homage from
Like,
Godzilla,
like having him rise out of the water.
the every like his main entrance into an episode is literally Godzilla showing up, shot for shot. and it's one specific movie too. So it's like I wonder how much Toei paid Toho. If anybody knows the answer to that, please let me know.
If anyone knows, it's Drago. He always knows that stuff.
Yeah. Hey Drago, you have some research to do for me.
Oh, so I always have the episode playing on my other monitor just in case. I just saw something during the mech fight. I need to rewind a bit here. Okay, yeah. So the mech fight, the giant monster has a tail, and I just noticed him tail whip the
Yeah,
mechs.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That is the thing that happened.
They're really going for it. Because that was a Dragon Caesar move. And, of course, Dragon Caesar was inspired by Godzilla.
So might as well have the Godzilla attack.
We get a pretty standard mech fight, other than that. We got more surprises coming later, though.
The point that the one thing about this fight that the mech fight that I enjoy is up until the very end of it, where they do their little, you know, the standard Sentai complete.
Hmm.
Zox just looks irritated as shit
So it's
for
like,
getting interrupted.
I put all that effort in, and you're hogging all the glory.
And then like he does the recognized Anto attack, and he's like, you can't get through my armor. He's like, dude, I'm using this, and then it just completely shifts focus. It's like, and their attacks start working, and it's just him going, this is a bullshit.
You can't get through my armor. Oh no!
Oh no.
And for their big help, Kaito invites the pirates over for a victory dinner.
At which point Flit points out that they've already been paid.
Yeah, she
Paid.
made
Paid.
she made a second kaiju gear for them.
She's a pirate. She's a pirate.
Sechon is a little
She is
annoyed by
officially
this.
she is officially pirating software.
Yeah, Sechon is a little annoyed at this because I gave you the gear information though.
And
But yeah, we saw the magazine scan, so we already know what this one does.
yeah, which to me like this that reveal, wow, honestly should have been the most obvious fucking thing ever.
Honestly, I would have been more surprised if she didn't do that.
Right.
Which, as soon
But
as
in
she
my
pulled it
head,
out, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, it's one,
Why
yeah, of course
wouldn't
she did.
she?
Right. In my head, looking at the scans, it just looked like something that like Kaito used it this time, and then for whatever reason, Zox ends up a hold of it next episode, or the next time it gets used, or something like that. That's what I was expecting. A la level 50 in Xaid between um Snipe and Brave. How they had to pass it back and forth for a
Right.
while. But no, this makes absolutely much more sense. And yeah, if she wouldn't have done it, it would have been more confusing, considering the fact that she's literally already done this. This is the last time she saw anything Zenkaiger. But yes, like um I want to talk about it if only for the thematic of that gear.
All right. So,
So should we do this after the podcast, or should because it'll
well,
probably be next week or the week after?
well, first off, so, uh, Zenkaiger podcast done. Next week's episode is a crossover with Saber, so
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
we're gonna start talking about Saber, and we're gonna start talking about Zenkaiger spoilers. All right, and we're probably gonna get off topic from there. So if you're
Just
done, thanks for joining. We're gonna get into some other stuff now. All right,
listener beware.
all right, go on.
Why? Well, number one, let's start where you started. Why in the fuck is this crossover even a thing?
This was a thing for a while. Ghost did it with
Oh no,
Juoger, and
I know. It was a thing for a while because Decade. I want to say the first one I ever saw was Decade.
oh, you're asking why are they bringing it back now?
Well, here's my reason for asking this. You're literally doing a goddamn crossover movie. What the fuck?
This probably ties into that.
God, don't remind me.
I'm not even
Don't give me
joking.
don't force my hand on watching Saber. The
I'm
show's already
not.
trying to do it. Um
I am literally gonna watch the next episode of Zenkaiger and go on with my life.
um I have everything up to watch it, and I'm only because I want to get caught up on it, just so I can
and
be.
like, because,
Okay, what
in fact,
for me
because,
the faster I catch up with Saber, the faster I can wash my hands of it.
because of what you told me about what happens with Sabella and Durandal, I don't have to be confused about what's going on with them next week. I already know.
Yeah, they're being good
I
guys.
I literally don't have to watch Saber to enjoy next week's episode.
uh, I'm more confused if they're bringing it back. Because I want to say the last one was Q Ranger and Xaid.
I want to say that is correct. That's the last one I remember.
Yeah, because that was at the point where they said they were done with Shocker too. Yeah, I know.
Oh.
That worked out well, didn't I? They will never be done with Shocker. Because didn't which Drive was before Xaid, right?
Yes. It
Okay,
was.
good,
Yeah, Drive was 2 years before Xaid.
good.
Oh.
Because if that had been the other way around, that would have been an even bigger laugh. In defense, we really haven't seen Shocker since then.
Oh. Oh. Was Shocker really not in Zio? I'm just now
Uh,
realizing that. That's impressive. I'm actually impressed if Shocker was not in Zio.
well, no, Shocker wasn't because Shocker didn't have anything to do with
I am actually
any of
impressed
those
by
shows.
that. I'm not
And
even
then,
kidding.
and despite literally going back to Ichigo, yeah, despite that, that had nothing to do with it. Shocker was outside of out. Let me rephrase that. Outside of them trying to remake uh, Ichigo, stay Shocker, because that was part of the plan to rewrite history. Outside of that, but at no point did Shocker actually
That's
show
right.
up.
The 01 and Zio crossover movie. Uh,
Had
they.
they used the ride watch for Ichigo,
Oh man.
but outside of that, and that was more of a reference to Shocker than actually seeing Shocker.
Two movie exclusive. What were they? Time Jackers were better villains than Schwartz himself.
Well, to be fair, Schwartz's entire story arc was, "Hey, Decade, anything you can do, I can do better." Which, to be fair, that entire
And
plot
then
line was done better by DMs.
Decade literally showed up and went, I can do anything better than you.
But no, it's like when your entire storyline is what the secondary writers of that was literally DN's storyline for the most part was. I can do this better than you. And he wasn't wrong half the time.
Oh
Schwartz,
man.
however, was. God, Schwartz can't even take somebody's power correctly.
Nah, he Schwartz literally failed at everything he set out to do except kill Sogo's parents. That was like the only thing he managed.
Yeah, that truly is the only thing he managed. What a
Spoilers
failure.
for Zio, but like,
But like
do you
when you look
care?
but like when you look through like the villain's successes throughout a show, specifically in Rider, there's usually some measurement of success for the final villain.
The final villain in Kuga literally killed off all of the monsters that Kuga hadn't fought yet, just to prove he was better than Kuga.
Fair enough.
Uh,
um Decade gets a pass because it was weird.
was Decade
Because
his own final villain? I'm still unclear.
yes and no.
I'm still unclear.
His entire he okay, so he was a threat to his own existence.
And all of existence, technically.
Yeah. So Decade gets a pass because that one's too hard to
That
fucking
one's
defeat.
complicated and was supposed to be filler.
Um, Ultima literally started a murder game and succeeded in forcing people to kill each other.
Who was that?
Ryuki.
Oh. Uh. Kanzaki Shiro.
Yeah, I mean
God,
he literally started to write a war and force and got
God,
people to kill each
I
other for his plan.
usually don't have to rack my brain so hard to remember his name.
I'm more amazed that I remembered his writer name.
His older writer name was Odin.
It was Odin? I could
Yeah.
swear it was Ultima.
No, that's why I was confused for a
Okay,
moment.
never mind. I confused myself. I don't know where the fuck
He was
Ultima
Kamen
came from.
Rider Odin. Fuck.
Um,
Um, God was going to bring about the rapture and decided not to. That was the ending of Agito.
to be fair, that's because the writer punched God in the face.
uh,
That's what started it, and that's what ended it.
by the way, if you haven't seen Agito, Vashi, say that again.
The human version of a common writer punched God in the face.
But we're talking about villain successes. So what did he successfully set out to do? He killed a human with his bare hands and regretted it.
I mean,
Um,
well, here, to be fair, his entire he succeeded in 90% of his plan because his plan was to kill off the Agitos.
actually, yeah, that is true.
He succeeded in that, not personally, but it was his plan that the monsters were following. So he did succeed in that to, a certain extent. Until, he got punched in the face and the devil told him to stop, for lack of a better term. Um, let's see.
Let's see here.
Drive's plan was lunacy by the end of it.
There was a plan. I kind of felt like Drive's villains were just lashing out in anger.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I meant the Gold Drive plot
Even,
line.
God, like, I still don't understand his plan.
I'm going to destroy the world.
Was he?
I guess
Or
I don't know. It was
there
never
was that like
perfectly
future
clear what
where
he
he
planned.
he seemed to be in charge of it. Like, God,
Yeah, that was all
I think
confusing as
I'm
hell.
gonna go ahead and say he failed at everything he set out to do too. I'm gonna put him in the same group as
Um,
Schwartz.
Depending on which aspect of his plan, Evolt succeeded.
He succeeded at he actually succeeded at a lot of the things he set out to do. However, you found out that he was trying to do that retroactively.
Yeah.
So it's weird, but he technically did succeed at like 95% of his plan.
Right. It's once he started scaling back his plan, he fucked up.
Let's see.
Honestly, that's where he fucked up. Um, Arc did a decent job of achieving its goal.
Ark got a lot of wins, actually. A
Um,
lot of them can be attributed to Thouser, but yeah, he got a lot of wins.
yeah, I mean, at that point in time, essentially, Thouser was working for Arc.
Which is the
Thouser
most
just thought
backwards
it.
shit ever, but
Yeah, but
Thouser's storyline was always a mess.
yeah. Um, let's see.
Mm.
Kabuto's villain.
Okay, you're gonna need to be way more specific than that, and you haven't even finished Kabuto.
That's the problem.
So
Um,
Kabuto, you can't really argue that Kabuto has a head villain. You do have that guy that you're thinking of, but even then, you can't argue that he was the head villain. He was just kind of the general for the first half of the series.
they're all just kinda.
Uh, with that being said, did they get accomplish anything? Actually, all right. I'm gonna go ahead and say that you'd have to attribute Kabuto's villain as the collective. The worms aren't a hive mind, but let's pretend that they are for a second. You could attribute quite a few victories to them. Particularly towards the end, where you haven't gone there yet, but spoilers. You find out that part of the resistance fighting against them is actually just more worms in disguise.
Yeah, that's about the point in time where you find out his sisters are worms.
I think you find out about the sister earlier, but I don't remember.
But I mean, it's once because I know once they start introducing the variant worms is kind of around that same time period
Hell,
from what I read up.
if Kabuto wasn't Kabuto, their final plan would have worked.
Blade.
Okay, again, Blade didn't have any singular villain until you get to that guy at the end, but for the most part, Blade didn't have a singular villain. But let's talk about that guy's plan. The board director. Uh, his plan was to become the ultimate undead. And to do this, he needed the other undead to be sealed away so that he would be declared the winner at the end. In that regard, every time an undead was captured by a rider, he got a little bit closer to his plan. So every single one of those can be attributed as a victory for him.
That's fair because I mean he was using that for his own end.
And if you want to argue that Chalice was the final villain, same thing. Except
Yeah,
Chalice didn't want to win, but you know.
right. Deno.
Deno's final villain is boring.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But there was a timeline where he won.
Yeah, but there was a timeline where they won, and he did kind of have time period erased.
Yeah, but because of
So
Deno's whole time traveling shenanigans, technically none
it
of it
nullified.
happened.
Yeah. So
But
technically,
there,
he won and lost.
there was a timeline where he actually definitively won, and it was because of that that Deno had to happen.
So if Pixie is listening to me, she needs to stop right now. Double. Let's talk about the museum.
Can Okay, did oh god. Okay, did the Ryubis actually get anything?
In the end, not really.
I'm trying to think if well, okay, they were dealers, so I guess they got money out of it.
Like they got money and power,
But like
but in
did
the end, that like they didn't actually accomplish
man, more Rider villains
outside
are
outside of the research. Outside of research, they didn't really accomplish anything.
more Rider
They were
villains
just,
are failures than you realize.
but the story makes it okay. You don't think about that
Yeah.
because Decade Double Story is fantastic, and the fact that basically by the end of it, they don't actually accomplish anything beyond again research and power for their stuff. They don't really accomplish anything.
And then there's the superintendent from Forze who like successfully gathered the Zodiac.
Yeah, I was getting to him in a minute. The greed.
Um the Greed, they I think all of them got no, maybe not all of them. Some of them got a win in that they were complete for like an episode before they got destroyed. Those were wins.
Okay.
They didn't last long, but they got there.
No. Sorry, I think the one who won in that was the Kogami Foundation. I think that was the only winner in that show. Um, Wizard
He successfully gathered the four wizards.
and came damn close to creating the Philosopher's Stone.
Like he actually like his plan like almost worked. For a second there, Wizard himself was almost going to go through with it too. Like his
Yeah,
plan like almost worked. That guy knew it was up.
Dime.
Okay. Okay, so who are we talking about with Gaim? Just
So I'm gonna
just
so
pick one.
hold on. I'm going to default it as a loss because I don't remember who the final villains were in the first.
Okay, so I'm
I
gonna just get
remember I remember you had the dealer who got crushed,
Sid,
Psychopants
Michi.
researcher,
Oh wait, no. Uh, I forgot about him.
the one who came back wearing a Bane mask.
Did he really?
Yes, more or less, yes.
Anyways,
Um Melon Lord for however long. Because again, it all depends on what arc you're in, who the villain
right.
was. But ultimately failures because they didn't outside of dicking with people's mental health.
All right. So I'm just gonna throw out four people who are definitively villains around or during the last arc. So Sid the dealer got nothing in the end.
Except crushed.
Uh,
His dreams literally got crushed.
However, he did get a win when he betrayed Melon Lord and took over that whole operation himself. Uh,
Yeah,
Michi got nothing in the end. Like literally, all of his efforts were wasted, and then people kind of forgave him because they just wanted to move past everything.
right.
Um, there was the previous winner from the other world who also got nothing in the end, and when he did decide to try and do something, it didn't amount to anything.
But we have to give him a win because he was the previous winner. So he at least gets that. If we're gonna give um Deno Deno's villain his win.
All right, I'll give him
Well,
that.
because at that point it ends up being a
He
trade.
wasn't a villain at the time, but I'll give him that. I
Yeah,
well, maybe I don't know. Maybe he was the villain in his
they
own
did.
story.
Yeah, they didn't really explain that too much.
And then there was Baron, uh, who was an anti-hero. So uh, he was a villain in the final arc, but he was an anti-hero for most of the show. So take that as you will.
Drive, which we already covered.
Yeah, we
I'm an
covered.
idiot. So I'm just going down my list. Ghost.
Um, they gathered some of the icons. Actually, the villains. They gathered some of them, so those are wins.
But at the same time, I feel with the way that story played out that the main villain gets nothing, but the entire Gamma world does. In the intention that the original reason for even gathering them was to save the Gamma world.
Now, you might be thinking, if I'm counting those as wins, then shouldn't I count all of the uh, ride watches that Zio collected as wins for Schwartz, since that was part of his plan? Well, you could count that.
Except Schwartz is an idiot.
But just take a look at Schwartz's plan and tell me that was a win.
Every bit of his plan was a fuck up. Xaid. I have personally, outside of the end game failing,
Fuck Kronos, but Genom got everything he wanted. Not always in the
so
way he
did.
wanted to get it, but he got everything he wanted.
Oh yes, he did. And as much as I hate Kronos, up until shit went south for Kronos, so did he. His
Like,
plan, his plan he set in motion, literally played out exactly as he wanted. To the point of he served time in prison just to further his plan. Let's keep that in mind. This is he kind of fucked it off by kind of going a little bit more batshit insane than his son did, which is saying something. We've already covered Build and Evil, and we have covered Zio. So yes, we
uh,
have covered all of Heisei.
nope.
Oh, Hibiki.
And Kiva.
Oh yeah, I did skip Kiva, didn't I?
And Fies.
God damn, how did I skip those? I'm literally going down a list.
A definitive, unchanging list.
Okay, so let's start at the top. Fies.
Fies' villains, okay. Uh, look. Actually, you know what? Lucky Clover, the girl that became the executioner, really good at her job.
Yeah.
And for a while there, they
And
had the Delta Belt.
yeah, and that's what I was saying. I was about to point out him too, because even without the belt, he fucked a lot of shit up. Even without that belt. Um.
I'd say they accomplished a lot.
Yeah, they actually did.
Hell,
Especially
since we're counting alternate timelines, there's an alternate universe movie where they won.
Yeah, it's a weird movie. Hibiki, and I can't
Okay,
give any
so
input on this one because I've not watched it. All I know is it had like
the plot of
75%
Hibiki.
of it is not a writer show.
Okay, so the plot of Hibiki. Quick rundown. Uh, the villains breed monsters that eat people, and so the riders called Oni go and fight them, and they're constantly training to fight the monsters, and they pass on their teachings to the next generation. So from the beginning, it should have been pretty clear that like they're not going to defeat the villains by the end of this. Uh, the the villains themselves don't really accomplish anything because anytime they breed a monster, Oni comes and defeats it, and that's really the extent of their goal. It's implied, if not directly shown, that they are doing experimentations leading up to something that is kind of like it's like a beyond your comprehension kind of thing. The only win you can really attribute to them, and this isn't even a win for them, is that the monster Armageddon is gonna happen, and even the villains recognize, like, oh, we can't even control that. We have to hope that the Oni take care of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But they don't even help out with it, so you can't even really attribute that as a win for them.
Right, that's still a win for the Oni.
Uh,
Now, for, for everybody's metalhead,
okay,
Kiva.
uh, the Emperor, or the King, or whatever the fuck his title was,
Which
actually,
one are we talking about? The one in the show or the one that turns into a giant fucking version of Kiva?
okay, I'm being too vague right now. Uh,
Yeah, just a little bit.
Spoilers for Kiva. Kiva's half brother,
Okay,
as the king of the Fangire, accomplished a lot, that most of which we aren't seen but implied, when he's going around killing off humans that would find something that would progress humanity to a state above Fangire. We get a lot of examples of this in the show, and it's implied he was doing this a lot behind the scenes.
that's fair enough.
So, for the most part, yeah, no, he accomplished what he was setting out to do.
And truthfully, up until the, you know, for lack of a better term, the reconciliation, like there would have been no end to it.
Hell, the ending to Kiva tells you that there's no actual end to it.
Yeah, yeah. So he didn't technically lose in the long run.
No, he switched sides.
The battle itself continued.
Right.
All he at that time he just tipped the scales one direction. God, I still want that movie. And yes, I still want a Toya to play him.
The actor still looks of the age to do it. It's crazy.
And that's fucking 20 years.
Kiva was 2008.
2008.
That was 13 years ago.
Yeah, 13. I can't do math in my head this late.
Uh, well, we got severely off topic. Did you want to
Um,
keep talking about spoilers for Zenkaiger?
yes, yes, just the one spoiler. Um, because you brought up the thematic why Dragon Caesar fits thematically for um Zenkaiger. Do you know why Zox thematically fits?
Because he represents 6 members. I guess he technically does and
I have an
doesn't.
easier one. I have an easier one than that.
Go on.
What's his suit based on?
Oh.
That's as far as you had to take it. because that ties it all the way back to Time Force.
Oh.
That's how much thought Toei put into that one. And it's brilliant. Because yes, it still represents, especially that aspect. It ties into Gokai in Gokai Silver having it.
Oh.
Because Gokai Silver was based on um he got his fucking mech from Time Force. So you have that connection, and then it's based on the mech from Time Force, and that mech was a sixth mech, and down the line you go. And the fact that literally Gokai Silver's power literally is six members,
Oh.
to the point where his final form is literally, I'm just have everybody's helmet.
Like, I didn't even finish saying Gokai Gold before I realized what I was saying.
But at the same time, that's as far as you needed to go
Right.
to make that connection.
Alright. So thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. This has gone on too long because holy shit, we got sidetracked.
In defense, we knew it was going to happen. That wasn't how I expected it to get sidetracked.
Nah, man. We went from Saber to Sentai Rider crossovers to Shocker to Zio
Every
to
villain sucks.
fuck Schwartz to let's compare every villain to Schwartz.
To continue to prove that Schwartz is the worst.
Oh. Now that's a train of thought. Thanks for
And at
joining
no
me.
point, and the amazing point through all of that, I didn't forget what I wanted to talk about.
Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time, and at some point, Soldier Kira Major movie, and then the Kira Major Summer movie, at some point.
I accidentally hit stop while you were saying that.
Oh well, they can piece it together. Context clues.